She has 12. Clark, step back, good!
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So, the Indiana Fever have a serious Caitin Clark problem. This is exactly how I feel right now, because I honestly don't know what the hell I'm watching with the 2026 Indiana Fever. Another game, another night where the same damn problems show up. I already made a video talking about Breanna Stewart and the way Dallas exposed the Fever. They basically showed the world the blueprint for slowing this team down. They gave everybody the game plan publicly. And yet, somehow, the Fever came right back and repeated the same mistakes. Stephanie White continues to run major portions of the offense through Kelsey Mitchell, while Caitin Clark gets pushed further and further away from being the primary engine of the offense. And at this point, I'm going to say something I never thought I'd say. I don't believe this Indiana Fever team is winning a championship. Hell, I'm not even convinced they're going to make it through the playoffs. If they do get there, I could absolutely see them getting knocked out in the first round. And before somebody gets mad, let me make this crystal clear. This isn't about Caitin Clark. This has nothing to do with Caitin Clark's ability. If I'm Caitin Clark, I'm talking to my agent right now. I'm sitting down and asking some serious questions about my future, because why the hell would you want to stay somewhere if the organization can't figure out how to maximize what you do best? And honestly, I don't even know if simply changing the coach fixes everything. Stephanie White deserves plenty of criticism for what we're seeing on the floor, but the responsibility doesn't stop there. Amber Cox helped orchestrate this roster and this team-building direction, and Kelly Krauskorp is part of that front office structure too. At some point, somebody has to answer for this, because the 2026 Indiana Fever are developing an identity, and right now, that identity is defensive breakdowns, stagnant offense, questionable rotations, and an offense that too often doesn't appear to revolve around the player who should be one of its biggest offensive engines. The defense has looked shaky since preseason, and now we're watching the same problems continue. Final score, 109-102. When I heard that score, I just sat there thinking, damn. I hate making videos like this because I try to separate my emotions from what I'm reporting, but sometimes that's damn near impossible, and I'm not the only person frustrated. Caitin fans also frustrated. This rotation pattern is coaching malpractice. Caitin Clark hits 2 straight buckets, finally gets into rhythm, and you immediately sub her out because apparently the rotation clock is more important than reading the damn game? And that's the question. Why does it sometimes feel like the rotation is predetermined no matter what's happening on the floor? Great coaches don't just stare at a stopwatch, they read the damn game. If your star player finally gets hot, why are you automatically taking her out instead of letting her continue building momentum? Basketball is about rhythm. Caitin Clark is a rhythm player. When she gets into a rhythm, you want the ball in her hands. You want her attacking. You want her making decisions. You want her creating shots for herself and everybody else. Instead, we've watched situations where she gets going and then suddenly she's back on the bench. And here's something else that really bothered me. This is now another game where Caitin Clark doesn't just appear to be pushed out of the first option, she's gone from first option to second option, and now at times she looks like the third option. The offense is being run through Kelsey Mitchell, and I understand Kelsey Mitchell is an elite scorer. Nobody is denying that. But there is a massive difference between utilizing Kelsey Mitchell as a weapon and building the entire offensive structure around Kelsey while Caitin Clark becomes a secondary piece. At one point, Sophie Cunningham appeared to get fed up with it. Kelsey was coming down the floor, Sophie was running the fast break, and instead of forcing another possession toward Kelsey, Sophie basically said, "Screw this," and gave the ball to Caitin. Now, Caitin didn't make the shot, and I already know what the Caitin Clark haters are going to say. They're going to point toward the 2 missed critical free throws. Fine, she missed them. I'm not going to pretend she didn't, but I'm also not going to allow 2 missed free throws to erase the larger conversation about how this offense is being structured. One bad moment doesn't suddenly mean Caitlin Clark is the problem. Stephanie White is just an atrocious coach, arguing that the Fever have one of the best shooting guards in the world playing point guard, while the offense continues to look like a boring motion offense that takes Caitlin away from the ball. And honestly, that's the part that drives me crazy. If Caitlin is going to be used at the 2, then run plays for her at the 2. If you're going to put the ball in Kelsey's hands more often, fine, but then where are the creative actions designed specifically to get Caitlin open? Where are the screens? Where are the off-ball actions? Where are the pick and rolls? Where is the creativity? Mara made another point that deserves attention. When has this type of basketball ever won anything? You have the best point guard on the team acting like a shooting guard. Why in the hell are you playing the game the opposing team wants you to play? And if you're going to play her at the 2, why aren't you drawing up plays for her? Exactly, that's the damn question. If the opponent wants Caitlin Clark away from the ball, why are you helping them? Livewire said the offense looks stagnant in back-to-back games, with no consistent push, no effective screens, and no clear reason why Caitlin isn't running the offense. And that's what fans are watching. They're not asking for Caitlin to take every shot. They're asking for the offense to make sense. There's another comment that really stood out. Caitlin Clark, coached by Stephanie White, has made me start losing my love for basketball. Think about how serious that is. People didn't become Caitlin Clark fans because they wanted to watch her stand around as a decoy. They became fans because of the way she plays, the creativity, the passing, the deep shooting, the transition offense, the pick and roll, the ability to control the pace of a game. If you're taking those things away, you're taking away a huge part of what made people fall in love with watching her. And then we have the Sophie Cunningham situation. There was a major protest in support of Sophie, with fans in New York making their feelings known. That should tell you something. The frustration isn't coming from one random person sitting behind a keyboard. Fans are watching this team and asking questions. Coach Anderson made another interesting observation. He pointed out that the Fever ran the Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark pick and roll 4 times, and the results were 3 baskets and 1 missed wide-open 3. His argument was simple. If it's working, why not run it more? Why not run it 20 times? And then he made the sarcastic comment that Stephanie White must want Alyssa Thomas to break the assist record instead of Caitlin's. That one made me laugh because, damn, it captures the frustration perfectly. Obviously, nobody should literally believe that's the coaching objective, but that's how ridiculous the situation can feel from the outside. If something works, keep attacking it. Basketball isn't supposed to be complicated just for the sake of being complicated. And here's where I land after watching all of this. I don't think Caitlin Clark is the problem. I don't think Kelsey Mitchell is the problem either. Kelsey's doing what she's being asked to do. The bigger issue is how the pieces are being used together. You can have Caitlin Clark, you can have Kelsey Mitchell, you can have Aaliyah Boston, you can have Sophie Cunningham, you can have talented players all over the roster. But if the system doesn't maximize them, what the hell is the point? Right now, the Fever look like a team trying to force an identity instead of finding the identity that naturally fits its best players. And that's why I'm starting to wonder whether Caitlin Clark's future in Indiana is actually sustainable. Because Caitlin is going to have a long career. She doesn't need the Indiana Fever to validate her. She can be great with or without this organization. But Indiana absolutely needs Caitlin Clark to reach its ceiling. That's the part some people don't seem to understand. This isn't about choosing Caitlin over Kelsey. It's about building a system where everybody is used properly. If Stephanie White can fix that, great. If Amber Cox and Kelly Krauskopf can fix the roster and organizational direction, even better. But something has to change. Because if the Fever continue down this road, they're going to waste opportunities. And when you have a player like Caitlin Clark, wasting opportunities is not just frustrating, it's down near unforgivable. So I'm asking you, What the hell is going on with the Indiana Fever offense? Should Caitlin Clark be running the offense more? Should Kelsey Mitchell remain the primary ball handler? Should Stephanie White completely change the offensive system? Or is this bigger than the coach? Get down in the comments and tell me what you think, because I'm sick of watching the same problems happen over and over again. And if Indiana doesn't figure this out soon, the championship conversation is going to disappear completely.